Okay, so you want to own a nightclub, find a building, put in some lights, hire a DJ, charge $20 at the door, and watch the money roll in. Every Friday night, the place is packed. Drinks are $12 each. People are spending freely. You're the owner. You're living the dream. Here's what that dream actually costs. Because here's the thing about nightclubs. No other business in the world looks this profitable from the outside and bleeds this quietly on the inside. A venue can be completely packed, 300 people, 400 people, music shaking the walls, and still be losing money that month. Not because the owner is doing something wrong, because of the architecture of the business itself. The costs are built into the walls before a single customer walks through the door, and that's exactly what we're going to pull apart today. Every number, every hidden cost, every reason why a venue that looks like a gold mine on a Saturday night is actually operating on a margin so thin that one bad month can wipe out everything. Let's start at the beginning. Before we talk about money, we need to establish something that most people get wrong from day one. You are not selling alcohol. You are not selling music. You are not even selling a good time, exactly. You are selling a feeling, a version of yourself, a story that your customers will tell on Monday morning when someone asks what they did over the weekend. Think about what it means to be at the right place on a Saturday night, the velvet rope, the VIP section, the bottle of vodka delivered to your tea table with a sparkler attached. None of that is about the vodka. The vodka costs $30 wholesale. You're charging $350 for it, and people are paying it. Not because they can't do arithmetic, but because the arithmetic isn't the point. The point is being seen. The point is belonging to something exclusive. The point is the story. This matters enormously for the economics of the business, because it means your pricing is not constrained by your ingredient costs. It's constrained only by your ability to create and maintain an atmosphere worth paying for. The markup on a premium bottle of spirits at a high-end club in New York or London regularly exceeds 1,000% above wholesale cost. That is not a typo. A bottle that costs $35 to acquire gets sold for $350 to $750 at the VIP table. The catch, and there is always a catch, is that creating and maintaining that atmosphere costs an extraordinary amount of money every month. Whether anyone shows up or not, the first major decision, before you spend anything else, is location. And this decision will either give your business a fighting chance or quietly guarantee its failure before you open the doors. In first-tier cities, New York, Los Angeles, London, Miami, the established entertainment districts are where the foot traffic already exists. Lower East Side, Shoreditch, Wynwood. People know to go there on a Friday night. The customer acquisition is built into the neighborhood, but you will pay for it. Commercial lease rates in prime nightlife corridors in Manhattan can run between $150 and over $300 per square foot per year. For a 5,000 square foot venue, that's between $750,000 and $1.5 million annually just in rent before you employ a single person or buy a single bottle. Now, you could go cheaper. Find a neighborhood that's up and coming, slightly outside the entertainment core. Your rent drops dramatically, but now you have a different problem. Nobody knows where you are. Every customer who walks through your door has to be convinced to come specifically to you rather than going to the obvious places. Your marketing budget has to be massive and sustained for years. You're trading lower rent for higher promotional spend, and in many cases, the promotional spend ends up costing more than the rent savings ever gave you. There are also variables that most people ignore when signing leases. Proximity to residential buildings is one of the most dangerous. Noise complaints in dense urban areas don't just create bad neighbor relationships. They create regulatory problems that can shut you down. The Ministry of Sound, one of the most famous nightclubs in the world, operating in London since 1991, famously had to fight a legal battle when a developer proposed building apartments directly next to it. Parking access, rideshare pickup space, egress at closing time, these sound like logistics. They're actually revenue drivers. If your customers spend 45 minutes getting out on a Saturday night, they stop coming back. The right location is never the cheapest location. It's the one where the rent, combined with the customer volume it brings in, produces the best economics per paying guest. Here is where this business separates itself from nearly every other industry. The capital you spend before opening, before your first customer, before your first drink sale, is staggering. And most of it is gone the moment you spend it. For a standard 5,000 square foot venue in a major American or British city, startup costs typically range between $350,000 and $50,000 on the absolute low end and over $1.4 million for a full build-out. Premier concepts in downtown cores of cities like New York or London regularly exceed $2 million before opening night. Walk through where that money goes. Lease deposit and pre-opening rent. The months you're paying occupancy costs while construction is happening. Runs between $25,000 and $90,000. This is money spent while earning zero. Design, architectural drawings, acoustic engineering, and legal fees run between $20,000 and $75,000. You cannot skip acoustic engineering. Building codes and municipal regulations in most first-tier cities require it for venues of this type. The actual build-out, structural modifications, fire suppression systems, electrical upgrades, restrooms, runs between $80,000 and $350,000. This is where most owners get blindsided. The quote at the start of construction is never the final number. Structural surprises and code changes are constants. Sound and lighting systems alone cost between $50,000 and $180,000. A high-end sound system for a 1,200 capacity venue is not something to compromise on. This is the core of the experience you're selling. Bad acoustics on opening night, and you will read about it on every review platform before the week is over. Bar equipment, refrigeration, and point-of-sale systems run between $35,000 and $120,000. Furniture, surveillance, and VIP banquets add another $20,000 to $75,000. Your liquor license, which we'll get to, adds anywhere from $10,000 to $150,000 depending on your market. Opening inventory, another $15,000 to $45,000. Launch marketing and talent deposits for your opening night, $20,000 to $80,000. And then something that undercapitalized owners almost always skip: a working capital reserve. Cash sitting in an account, untouched, to cover the gap between opening and becoming cash flow positive. The industry standard for this buffer is between $75,000 and $250,000. Skip this, and you will be borrowing money at bad rates within your first 60 days just to make payroll. The total for a legitimate mid-sized venue in a major market: $350,000 to over $1.4 million. Before your first Saturday night, your entire revenue model depends on your ability to sell alcohol legally. And that requires licenses that are neither cheap nor fast to obtain. In many American states, the number of active liquor licenses in a given area is capped by law. These are called quota licenses. Because the cap is fixed and demand is not, existing licenses trade on a secondary market. In New York City, a full liquor license on the secondary market can cost anywhere from $10,000 to over $150,000. It is functionally a capital asset, something you buy and put on your balance sheet, not a government fee you pay and forget. Beyond the liquor license, you need a certificate of occupancy confirming your building meets safety standards for your maximum legal capacity. Fire inspections requiring suppression systems and emergency lighting throughout the venue. Health permits for anything mixer-related. And annual music licensing agreements with organizations like ASCAP and BMI in the US, or PRS for music in the UK, which cost between $2,000 and $10,000 per year depending on your capacity. Here is where it hurts. Every week of delay in obtaining these approvals is a week you're paying rent, servicing your construction loans, and paying your management team with zero revenue. A 2-month delay in a liquor license transfer at a venue carrying fixed monthly costs of $140,000 means $280,000 absorbed before you've served a single drink. That is a documented pattern, not a hypothetical. A nightclub is not run by one person. A mid-sized venue operating on a standard schedule requires a human infrastructure that most first-time owners dramatically underestimate. You need general managers, a head of security, and enough trained floor security to manage entry, the floor, and exit. Roughly one officer per 50 to 75 patrons is the industry standard. You need bartenders, and enough of them to serve your venue efficiently at peak hours. Service speed is a direct revenue cap. A high-performing bartender can process between 80 and 120 transactions per hour. A short-staffed bar on a Saturday night doesn't just create frustrated customers, it physically prevents you from selling drinks. Behind the bar, you need barbacks keeping ice and bottles stocked so the bartenders never stop. Servers for VIP sections, a door team managing your line and guest list, a DJ and often a supporting act. Commercial cleaners before and after each operating night. And behind the scenes, an accountant, a marketing manager, and an event coordinator for ticketed events. Labor and hospitality is benchmarked at 20 to 30% of gross revenue. For a venue doing $200,000 a month in sales, that's $40,000 to $60,000 in payroll alone. Miss that benchmark by 5 or 10 points and your entire operating margin disappears. Turnover in nightlife is relentless. The best bartenders leave for better venues. Security burns out, DJs get poached. Every departure means recruitment time, training time, and a period of reduced service quality. Costs that never appear on a line item but absolutely affect the bottom line. The concept you need to understand is called poor cost. Pour cost is simply the cost of what's in the glass expressed as a percentage of what you charge for it. To run a profitable bar, you want pour cost on spirits between 15 and 20%. That means for every dollar collected, 15 to 20 cents is what the liquid in the glass actually cost. Here's what that looks like in practice. A standard 750 milliliter bottle of vodka purchased wholesale cost your bar roughly $20. That bottle yields approximately 16 standard 1.5 ounce pours. Each pour becomes a mixed drink priced at between $12 and $16 on your menu. 16 drinks at $14 each is $224 in revenue from a $20 bottle. Your pour cost is about 9%. Cocktails do even better. A well-designed cocktail priced at $15 to $20, with ingredient costs of $2 to $3, generates margins above 85% per transaction. Beer and wine are less efficient. By-the-glass wine is subject to spoilage. An open bottle left overnight is a direct loss. This is why successful nightclubs engineer their menus not for variety, but to steer customers toward the highest margin items with the least preparation time. If bar sales generate strong margins, bottle service is in a different category entirely. A VIP table, a reserved booth or sectioned area with dedicated seating, is held for customers who agree in advance to spend a minimum amount at that table over the course of the night. At an average venue on a standard Saturday, table minimums start around $300 to $500. At premium venues on headline nights, minimums from $1,000 to over $3,000. In marquee venues in Las Vegas, Miami, or London on a major event night, minimums have exceeded $10,000. The customer gets a reserved space, a dedicated server, bottles of spirits from the VIP menu, mixers, and ice. The bottles on the VIP menu are priced at $350 to $750 each. For products, your back bar stocks at $30 to $45 wholesale. The markup is routinely above 1,000%. The gross margin on each bottle exceeds 90%. Now run the spatial math. A VIP table occupying 50 square feet generates $2,000 in revenue in a single 3-hour window. The same 50 square feet on your general dance floor might hold 5 or 6 people spending $30 to $40 each over the evening. That's $150 to $240 from the same space. Bottle service generates between 8 and 12 times the revenue per square foot of general floor area. This is why every successful nightclub in a major market has expanded its VIP footprint. The psychology matters too. Bottle service is purchased for social reasons first and alcohol reasons second. A table with a bottle and a sparkler in a crowded room is a broadcast. It says something to everyone watching. That social signaling function is what makes customers willing to pay a markup that, in any other context, they would find absurd. If you're finding this useful, understanding how these businesses actually work behind the closed doors, subscribing to the channel and giving the video a like really does help keep this kind of content going. Now back to the numbers. Here is the structural problem at the center of everything. Your rent is due every month. Your payroll runs every 2 weeks. Your insurance premium doesn't care whether it was a slow Tuesday. Your liquor distributor in most American states is legally required to operate on cash on delivery or 7 to 14-day payment terms. A late payment means they are legally prohibited from making your next delivery. If your account goes past due on a Thursday, you might be running short on product by Saturday night. Your costs are distributed evenly across the entire month. Your revenue is not. A standard nightclub in a major market generates the overwhelming majority of its income on Friday and Saturday nights, roughly 8 to 10 high-density nights per month. The Tuesdays and Wednesdays might generate something. They might not. But the costs run regardless. A mid-sized venue in a major American city, with a capacity of around 400 to 500 people, typically carries fixed monthly costs in the range of $140,000. Rent, insurance, core payroll, utilities, licensing fees, and loan service if debt was taken on during the build-out. To reach break-even, to simply not lose money, that venue needs monthly revenue of approximately $212,000. Every dollar above that number is operating profit. Every dollar below is a loss absorbed from reserves or from debt. Now consider a 15 to 20% drop in attendance on your key weekend nights. Not a catastrophe. A normal fluctuation, bad weather one weekend, a competing event pulling customers away, a public holiday falling awkwardly. That drop can take a profitable month and turn it into an operating loss. Every time. This is why clubs that look successful from the outside are quietly burning through cash. The margin between a good month and a bad month is not measured in small percentages. It's measured in hundreds of thousands of dollars. Booking talent is how you fill the room on key nights. It's also one of the largest financial risks in the business. When a nightclub books a recognized DJ or celebrity appearance, The financial structure has three parts, and most people only think about one. The performance guarantee, the fee paid to the artist, runs between $3,000 and $10,000 for a regional act, between $10,000 and $25,000 for a nationally known touring artist, and starts at $25,000 for an A-list headliner, routinely exceeding $100,000 for a single night. In most cases, 50% of that fee is required as an upfront deposit upon signing the contract, before a ticket has been sold. Then comes the technical rider, the specific equipment the artist's management requires. Additional sound console models, lighting rigs, CO2 effects. These are not optional, and fulfilling a major headliner's technical rider can add $5,000 to $20,000. Then the hospitality rider, first-class flights, 5-star hotel rooms, private transport, catering in the green room. For an A-list act, this adds another $10,000 to $30,000. So when an owner sees a performance fee of $50,000 and believes they understand the event cost, the actual total outlay is often closer to $80,000 or $90,000. To break even on a night with that kind of talent cost, every dollar has to come back through ticket sales, elevated table minimums, and bar revenue in a single evening. If the weather is bad, if a competing event pulls attendance, if the artist cancels, you absorb the loss. The deposit is typically non-refundable. Every business plan accounts for known expenses. Nobody writes a section for the ones they haven't thought of yet. Credit card chargebacks are one of the largest hidden drains. A customer spends $400 at a VIP table, gets home, and disputes the charge. The credit card company sides with the cardholder by default unless you can produce specific documentation. You lose the revenue, you lose the cost of goods served, and you pay a processing fine on top. In a venue doing high volumes of VIP transactions, chargebacks can quietly consume 1% to 3% of gross VIP revenue annually, room plumbing damage. High-traffic venues run their plumbing at a rate unimaginable in any residential context. Blockages, overflows, fixture damage, these happen constantly. An emergency plumber at 2 in the morning on a Saturday in a major city will cost you, and it will happen more often than you expect. Municipal noise fines in cities like New York and London escalate quickly. Repeat citations can trigger license reviews. The legal cost of contesting a license review, attorney fees, hearings, documentation can run into the tens of thousands post-event commercial cleaning. After a large event, the venue needs professional cleaning before morning inspections. A commercial crew for a 5,000 square foot venue after a major night runs between $500 and $2,000. Multiply that across the month. None of these appear in the first draft of any business plan. All of them appear in the monthly bank statement. The failure pattern is rarely dramatic. There's no single catastrophic event. It looks like this. The venue opens with strong momentum. The first 3 to 6 months are exciting. Social media buzz, novelty align around the block. Revenue looks good. The owners feel confident. Then, somewhere between months 12 and 18, something shifts. The buzz fades slightly. A new venue opens nearby. Some of the regulars start going there instead. Revenue softens. The owners book a more expensive act, spend more on marketing, partially redesign the space. These are the right instincts, but they cost money that may not have been budgeted. Meanwhile, the debt from the original build-out is still being serviced. Rent is the same number it was on day one, and the working capital reserve, if there was one, has been partially drawn down. By month 24, the venue is running on a narrower margin than at month 6, while carrying the same fixed costs and higher promotional expenses. 1 or 2 genuinely bad months, a slow January, a competitor's major event stealing their core weekend, and the cash position becomes critical. The venues that survive treat profitability from the very first week as a discipline. They benchmark poor cost every week. They track variance between theoretical alcohol usage and actual usage to catch inventory leakage before it becomes structural. They keep labor inside their target percentage. They maintain capital reserves. And they refresh their concept, new programming, new decor elements, new marketing, on a regular cycle before the customer base needs them to. The ones that fail thought the hard part was opening. It was actually staying open. A well-run venue in a prime location in a major market can achieve operating profit margins between 10 and 15% of gross revenue. On annual revenues of $2.4 million, a realistic figure for a consistent mid-sized venue doing approximately $200,000 per month, that's an operating profit of between $240,000 and $360,000 per year. But reaching that outcome requires hitting specific benchmarks on every major cost line every single month. Beverage pour cost needs to stay below 18%. Total labor needs to stay within 20 to 25% of revenue. The venue needs at minimum 4 to 6 VIP tables running consistently, generating between 30 and 40% of total nightly revenue from bottle service. Marketing spend needs to be disciplined enough to maintain door density without consuming the margin it generates. The operators who achieve those returns don't just run nightclubs. They run data-driven hospitality businesses. They review weekly point-of-sale reports, comparing theoretical beverage consumption against actual usage to catch shrinkage before it becomes a drain. They adjust table minimums and cover charges based on advance reservation volume. Higher floors on pre-sold nights, targeted promotions on softer ones. The difference between a venue generating a 3-year payback period on a $900,000 investment and one that limps along for 15 years without ever recouping its capital often comes down to one thing: how seriously the owner treats the financial management of the business when the venue is full and the music is loud and it feels like everything is going perfectly. That is exactly when the mistakes get made. Here is what the math looks like at both ends. In the optimistic scenario, prime location, strong VIP conversion, consistent weekend attendance, monthly gross revenue lands around $240,000. After beverage costs, labor, rent, marketing, talent, and operating expenses, the venue produces a net operating cash flow of around $25,000 per month. That is $300,000 per year. On an initial investment of $900,000, the payback period is 3 years, a genuinely strong return. In the realistic scenario, a venue doing fine but not exceptional, facing normal competitive pressure with some inconsistent weekends. Monthly gross revenue averages close to $165,000. After all expenses, net operating cash flow is closer to $9,400 per month. That's roughly $113,000 annually. Same investment. Payback period of 6.5 years. The gap between those two scenarios is approximately $187,000 per year. From the same size venue, in the same city, selling the same drinks, that gap is produced by the size and consistency of the VIP section, the efficiency of bar service, inventory control, and the ability to hold and grow a loyal customer base. None of those factors are luck. All of them are decisions. The nightclub business is not a lifestyle purchase. It's not a ticket to the party you've always wanted to attend. It's a capital-intensive, operationally complex, highly regulated business that runs on thin margins, depends almost entirely on human behavior you cannot control, and requires a level of financial discipline that is genuinely uncommon in an industry defined by its opposition to anything that looks like discipline. The people who make serious money in this industry, the ones who turn a single venue into a brand, expand into multi-city operations, build something that generates returns for years, treat the nightclub exactly the way a fund manager treats a portfolio. Every number matters. Every variance matters. The music is just the product. The house always wins. But only if the person running the house understands that they are running a business, not attending a party. If you want to go deeper on the business side of things, the frameworks and financial thinking that apply across industries like this one, there's a detailed business guide linked in the description and pinned in the first comment. Worth checking out. And if this breakdown gave you something to think about, if the numbers landed differently than you expected, please do like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. It genuinely helps, and there's a lot more of this coming. Thanks for watching.